It has been some time since you last sat at the table. Let us begin again. Now we play.
Nerd Farmers, thank you for joining me and watching the Hand of Fate review. It's an interesting RPG from the people over at Defiant Games, and I'm glad you're watching this review because I don't want you to disregard this game like I did at the PlayStation Experience. Hand of Fate is a card-based RPG with combat elements. When the PR people told me about that at the PlayStation Experience, I right away disregarded the game, especially looking at it, because cards and RPG aren't typically games that I look forward to playing or that I go out of my way to play. And so I'm really glad that they sent me a review code so that I could try it out and actually tell you guys how great of a game Hand of Fate is. So what exactly is Hand of Fate? Besides being a card-based RPG with combat elements, it's a little bit more than that. Hand of Fate is a story game, or there's also an endless mode. But you meet the dealer, and the dealer deals out certain bosses that you're going to go and attack. And each one is a separate story within its own, and completely random depending on how you build your deck. Now you build 2 decks, including the 3rd deck that the dealer will include in his own. Now, while I'm saying all this, it sounds incredibly boring, but trust me, it's actually really fun, and it's very, very interesting, especially since each story comes up completely random according to your decks. So the first deck you have is your equipment, and those equipment are your swords, your shields, everything. And the further you go in the game, the more of this equipment you will earn and use, and it makes it up for some great and fun encounters. Now, these encounters are the ones where you find a certain area that could have a fallen soldier or a peasant woman or actually just a combat sequence. And this is where the fun of Hand of Fate really begins. Now, not every encounter has to be combat oriented. There's also shop cards. There are events that lead to luck of the draw type cards. We have 4 cards, and you can either choose success, huge success, or failure and huge failure. I have terrible luck at picking these cards. I don't know what my problem is, but I tend to pick huge failure, I'd say 90% of the time. And what that does is either take away a piece of my good equipment or it'll give me a curse. But hey, sometimes you get lucky enough and you pull out a success card or a huge success, and that will either award you with food, gold, or blessings. So, and I guess that's part of the greatest part of the luck of the draw. So, but also besides the combat and the battle encounters, there are also trap. And on the way going through trap levels, at the end are big chests with loot in them that reward you with huge bounties of gold. So I know you're probably getting tired of all the card aspects of the game, but surprisingly it's actually one of my favorite parts of Hand of Fate. I love the random encounters, and I love how every boss fight can have a different and random story told with it also. But you'll probably want to know, hey, how's the actual combat? And the combat for Hand of Fate is actually quite decent. You can definitely feel the influences from other popular combat-heavy games like Batman Arkham Asylum, and that just comes with the parry and the dodge mechanics. But just like the story, each combat can vary depending on equipment, blessings, weapons, everything like that. So I also very much enjoy a lot of Hand of Fate's combat. As if you couldn't tell from review already, I really enjoyed Hand of Fate. And not because of the excitement and the random encounters in each story or the combat mechanics, but also because it's all crafted together around its fantastic soundtrack. Hand of Fate has that classic fantasy RPG soundtrack, something that you would hear in Wizardry or King's Quest, and it's definitely not lost in Hand of Fate. So, bravo Defiant Games in creating a really fantastic RPG in Hand of Fate. It's brilliant, it's fun, it's all around exciting, you never know what's coming next, and it definitely has that classic D&D Dungeon Master feel. Something that I really missed growing up.
Come once more to the game.
Really, any person who loves RPGs must get Hand of Fate, and also any fan of adventure should also get Hand of Fate.